Today we're making bunts because I've got lots of bundt tins that need using, and I don't know how to make bundt tins, bundt cakes.
God.
Oh, I can't get it right. In today's video, Rob's going to be showing me how to make a bundt cake. So I have lots of these bundt tins. I don't really know what you do with them. Those of you that watch regularly will know I often cheat and buy packet mix or ready-made cakes. But I've got Rob here from Mr. Baker's Cake School, who is an expert baker, so he's going to show me how to make a bundt cake.
Okay, so you've got the Nordicware Bundt Tins, haven't you?
Yes.
And I know you sell these in your shop because I have bought them from your shop before. These are my favourite brand of bundt tins just because they're really, really high quality and they last a long, long time. So, good choice.
Thanks.
I'm thinking this one today.
Okay.
Just because we're going to keep our decoration really, really simple, and this one is a fairly simple pattern. So the Nordicware Bundt Tins in particular are all very heavily patterned, which is why we like them, but they kind of lend themselves to different styles of decoration. But when we're keeping it simple, we almost want to keep the pattern quite simple too.
Is that because I'm a bit of a beginner baker?
No, it's just the cake we're making is actually a very simple, kind of like traditional humble cake.
And what cake are we making?
So, at the risk of being cancelled, we are making my version of a traditional Turkish Meskouta cake. I might even not be pronouncing that right. So a Meskouta cake, as I say, hails from Turkey, and it is basically a very simple light sponge cake, often flavoured with orange, and you'll find variations of it all over the internet. Sometimes it will have additional spice like cardamom, sometimes it will include ground almonds, but the version we're doing today, as I say, is nice and simple and light, and it's the perfect cake to just have for like afternoon tea. You know, if you've got a friend popping in and you want to make a simple cake for them, but it still looks impressive because it's in your bundt tin.
That's good because I don't have any cardamom in.
Excellent. Cardamom.
Cardamom.
We're going to preheat our oven to 180 degrees or 160 fan, which is gas mark 4.
Yeah, I've done
Cool.
it this time.
And then we need to prepare our bundt tin.
Okay. So I've seen people make like special gloop stuff for it. Do we need that or do we not?
There are so many different ways people prepare bundt tin. So as you say, cake goop is a very popular one, which is a combination of like flour, vegetable fat, vegetable oil, things like that. I tend to be very traditional and I will butter it and then I will dust it with flour. It's really easy to do. It's ingredients you'll already have in, and as long as you're not too heavy-handed, it will give you a perfect release. I found some of the other methods aren't always quite so.
Last time I
Perfect.
made one, it didn't come out very well out the pan.
Okay, well, whenever I make one on video or in a class at the school, there is always that fear that it won't come out, but it's going to happen today. I'm feeling confident.
Yay.
So the first thing we're going to do is melt some butter, which you can just do in the
melt some butter.
microwave. The trick with melting butter in the microwave, and I'm teaching you to suck eggs, I apologise.
No, once I put the tin.
Okay, don't do that. The trick is to not heat it for too long because it concentrates all the heat into one place and then the liquid in the butter will turn to steam and it will explode. So you just chop a little bit of butter off and then cut it into kind of smallish cubes.
Okay. Smallish cubes. How small?
Microwave, literally about 20 seconds. Take it out, stir it, 20 seconds.
More.
I mean, you can go as high as 30 seconds at a time, but I'm just very aware you've got a very powerful microwave.
And a short attention span and I wander off and forget it's in there.
This is the second video we filmed, and yesterday she was microwaving sugar paste and often forgot it was in there. It's alright though, because I teach a lot of small children, so I'm kind of used to it.
Sometimes when I use butter for lining a cake tin, not butter, just a normal one, I just rub the block of butter in. Should I not really do that?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
The thing with the bundt tin in
definitely
particular is it's got lots of really intricate parts. This one isn't so bad, but actually if we grab the heritage mould, you can see it's got loads of really sharp kind of grooves and indentations, and so what can happen is the cake will get stuck in those. So by using a brush and brushing butter into all of those intricate bits, it's going to stop it sticking.
I know, I should have put an apron on. How messy do you think I'm going to get?
You're not going to get messy because cleanliness is next to godliness. No, what I say to the children in our children's classes is if you're not making a mess, you're not having fun.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll go with that one. Definitely. So I'm just brushing it in.
You're brushing it in, but what you don't want to do is have massive pools of butter. So everything needs to be coated.
Too late.
No, that's fine because you're going to keep going. but everything needs to be coated. But if you leave like a little lake of butter at the bottom, when we flour it in a second, it's going to create almost like a gunge, and then that will stick to the top of your cake.
Oh, okay.
Which won't look pretty.
Do I need to do it all the way to the very top?
All the way to the very top.
Oh yeah, I apologise for the nail varnish, guys. We don't normally have painted nails when we're baking, but Rob and I did a video the other day, which will be over on his YouTube channel, and we really wanted matching nail varnish for the video. This is just like teaching a child.
They asked us questions. We're using self-raising flour today just because I find it's a lot easier for most people to work with.
Does it matter what brand of flour you use?
Certain brands will, because self-raising flour contains baking powder already, so I find certain brands use more baking powder, and certain brands will use less baking powder. So what I prefer to do is find a brand, work out how much additional raising agent I need to add, and then I will stick with that brand. Because I'm sure we've all had that thing where we make a recipe that we've made a gazillion times before.
Do you want to see?
Nope.
Okay.
But suddenly it stops working, and it can be something as simple as you've changed your flour, it's got a different amount of baking powder in it, and so you're adding too much as a result.
Am I doing this right?
Yes, you are. So what we're doing is we're making sure we've got a really even layer of flour stuck to that butter.
It's actually so much harder than a plain round
It is.
tin, isn't it, to do?
But again, this is a very simple Bundt mould compared to some of them. So if you're looking to have a go at baking Bundt cakes, this would be a good one to start with. Yeah, so
check I've got it everywhere.
What I will normally do is go over the bin, but you can't see the bin from where you are, so I'm just going to do it on the worktop and make sure we clean it up off the camera. So nice tap, make sure all of the excess is gone. So hopefully you can see we haven't really got kind of any like gunge that's built up in any of these grooves, because as I say, when we bake the cake, what we don't want is to take it out when it's got like lines of white.
Do we need this?
On the top. No, that can go. That's very convenient.
It is. I had it put there. Usually a miss, you can see it's actually gone everywhere, not just in the bin. But the idea... Oh, I should really put an apron on, shouldn't I?
I did.
Shall I put an apron on?
Okay, so next you are going to need a zester. I don't know if you have like a microplane or if you just have like a box one, or... You have of course you have a microplane, silly question.
What is a microplane, Zoe?
It says that it's for grating things.
Very expensive professional grater.
I have cut my finger on it a few times.
Of course you have. Now, my recipe calls for the juice and zest of one large orange.
Okay.
These are not particularly large, which is why I'm thinking we'll do 1.5. Let's watch your zesting.
Watch my zesting technique. I was told not to get too close to the white, is that right?
Mm-hmm. So when you're zesting, you literally just want the shiny orange stuff that's on the surface. You don't want anything underneath. That's the pith, and that's really bitter.
Yeah, I don't like pith.
Right, now what you're going to do is juice.
I was hoping that I could drink them. Do you just tend to cut it in half to juice it?
Yeah.
That way?
Mm-hmm. And then I tend to squeeze through a sieve, just so that way if there's any pips or anything, they get caught in the sieve.
I was going to say, is there a tip to not getting pips in? I'm too lazy to sieve things. Does it make a difference when you sieve things?
It does. It's an opportunity to add extra air to your bake. Did you just get that in your face?
Yeah, I did. So would you ever use orange flavouring, or would you always use oranges?
If I can use a real thing, I would always use the real thing, if that makes sense, because like orange zest is a much nicer flavour than orange extract. Lemon zest is a much nicer flavour than lemon extract. Okay, so the type of cake we're going to be making today is very similar in terms of preparation to a Genoese sponge. So a Genoese, you start by whipping your eggs and your sugar together. Now, to do that by hand is a huge undertaking because it takes an awful long time. So I brought one of our mixers up from the cake school for us to use. However, we need to whisk. And you'll notice I haven't brought a whisk attachment. So the plan was to make our lives easier, but unfortunately, Zoe, we can't use it.
You can make me do it by
So it's
hand.
just gonna sit there and look beautiful, and we're gonna do it by hand.
I'll find a whisk.
While Zoe's doing that, I'm gonna crack 4 large eggs into this bowl. Top tip for cracking eggs, if you crack on the side of a bowl, you're gonna push the shell inside, which means you're more likely to get shell in your mix. If you tap on the worktop, you get a nice clean break that you can then just pull apart. He says almost dropping it. and no shell in the bowl.
Just double checking. Do you know, my favourite bit used to be about baking cakes? Beating or whisking the sugar and butter together.
The creaming method.
The creaming method. Because I used to eat half of it once it was done.
So you want 190 grams of caster sugar.
190. What's the difference between caster sugar and granulated sugar?
The size of the grains or the granules. So granulated is bigger, caster is smaller.
People always go mad when I put the wrong one in their tea and coffee.
So he has got an electric hand whisk, but basically we now need to whip this or whisk this until it's really light, really pale. It will increase in volume, and you need to be able to draw a figure of 8 in the surface, and it will stay there for a few seconds. So it takes a long time.
I would stand that. Just in case.
It's gone really thick, and so a lot of people will think, oh, that's done. But as I say, you need to be able to draw a figure of 8 on the surface, and it should stay. And obviously that's nowhere near yet. So. So you can see now it's really, really thick, it's really, really pale, and it's really creamy. And what you're looking for is, if you draw a figure of 8, it should sit on the surface. And you can see this kind of is. It's not staying for very long, but also we're a bit worried that Zoe's whisk is going to overheat.
It's not used to so much work.
No, so we're going to roll with it, and if it all goes horribly wrong, we're going to blame Zoe and ignore the fact that I forgot to bring a whisk attachment for the stand mixer. But you can see it is there. Can you see?
Yeah.
And you can hopefully see on that camera up there.
It's not there for long, but it's there.
It's there. Okay, and then what we're going to do next is we're going to start to add in oil whilst continuing to mix. If you want the recipe, Zoe will link it down in the video description.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to pour this in slowly whilst whisking. Okay. And you're just going to mix that until it's smooth.
So that doesn't take too long.
Doesn't take long at all. So next, now we've got all of our we've got egg, we've got sugar, we've got oil, and obviously the oil is acting as our fat in this recipe, so we don't need any butter. What we're now going to do is sift in our flour, our baking powder, and we're also going to add a little bit of salt as well, because normally I bake with salted butter, but obviously we're using oil instead of butter, so we need to pack that salt in there somewhere, otherwise it will be too sweet. So you are going to add 240 grams of self-raising flour.
240 fit in that sieve? Oops, you might have to hold on
Find
to it.
out, I can't because it will weigh my hat.
Teaspoon.
Teaspoon of baking powder, and you want to add it to your flour so that it disperses throughout the flour. What I tend to recommend the children do, and also the grown-ups, so I don't know why I keep referring to children, scoop it so it's
You can call me a
heaped,
child, it's fine.
and then if you use a finger to swipe across the top, that is a perfect measure. Okay, don't pack it down.
What happens if it's not a perfect measure?
Then you will ruin the recipe, Zoe, and this cake will be terrible.
Okay. I feel like I might break your bowl.
Normally I would also add the salt in at this point as well, but this is such a fine mesh sieve, I'm not convinced it will go through the sieve, so we'll add it afterwards. I'm going to add half a teaspoon.
Like
this is just regular fine sea salt.
This video is like a good advert for Sainsbury's.
Other supermarkets are available. I'll do the split then, because
Okay,
we'll put the
sorry.
spoons down. And then you're going to fold those through.
I'll use an orange one since we're making an orange cake.
And it matches your jumper. So I'm going to show you first.
Okay.
I'm sure you know how to do it, but I'm going to show you anyway.
It's been a long time.
So folding, so you cut through the middle and then fold it over on itself. Through the middle, fold it over on itself. This is always done best with something really thin, so like a spatula, a metal spoon, rather than something like a wooden spoon that's quite thick. And you want to keep doing this until all of that flour has been incorporated. The reason why we fold it rather than just stir is it's not going to get any of that air knocked out that we spent probably about half an hour whisking in. That looks really good.
Does it?
And you can see the baking powder has already started working because you can see the bubbles forming inside.
It kind of reminded me of bread, like.
So now what we need to do is carry on quickly, because as soon as you put a chemical raising agent in something, it starts working. Okay. So into that, We're going to add the orange juice, the vanilla, and the orange zest. So obviously we've got those all in one bowl, so you can just pour them in one go.
Right, straight in here.
Straight in there.
Doesn't need to be slow or anything.
Nope. Because it's got the flour in now, don't forget. So it's a different mixture. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla because vanilla makes everything better. And then you're just going to stir that to combine it. You want it nice and smooth. Right, this needs to go in there.
Okay. Do I pour it all the way around? Okay. Cool. I feel like when I go around the middle bit, I can't tell if I'm going around the middle bit because I can't see it anymore, or if I'm kind of pouring it in there.
Fine. So the only downside to these bowls, of course, is the glass ones are very heavy. So it's quite, these bits like this are quite awkward. So I do like the metal bowls, but for videos, you can see what's happening in the bowl. Right, and then this is going to go into our preheated oven for about 40 minutes. I say about because I've never baked in your oven before, but we're looking for it to have risen. It should be a lovely golden colour, and it will be beautiful. That would do. Okay.
Yep.
Ready? So we can see it's got a lovely golden brown colour. It's starting to pull away from the sides, and when you touch the top, it's nice and spongy. You could also insert a cocktail stick, and if you've got any liquid cake mix, then it needs to stay in for longer. If it's a little bit greasy and there's a few crumbs, that's absolutely fine, it's still baked. So we're now going to leave this to cool in the tin for at least 10 minutes. And then what we'll do is we'll turn it out, and that will be that moment of truth of did our preparation work and will it come out of the tin, which is always horrifying, but particularly when you're filming it or doing this in front of an audience. So,
will we get any offcuts that I can eat?
No.
Are you allowed to poke it?
No. We don't play with the cake. So we're going to walk away and leave this now.
Okay. I'm struggling to wait 10 minutes. I'm really tempted to pick some off while Rob's gone and eat it.
Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes and you can see now the cake has started to pull away from the side, which is a good sign. So what we're going to do now...
I'm showing the camera.
Okay.
It won't just drop out.
There is also a camera up there that can really see it.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it out. And to do that, I want you to put the cooling rack upside down on top of the cake tin.
This is when my hands are not always big enough.
I never ever get bored of watching people like on baking shows and things, and you, who are just so incredibly cack-handed about just turning something over.
See, it was better than the last one I did.
Did it make a nice reassuring flump when you turned it?
Yay! It didn't make a noise, so I thought it was stuck in the tin.
Wow.
It came out. It smells really orangey. It
Trust.
smells nice.
The trust thought it was stuck.
You know, for washing it, do you just wash it in
there are very detailed washing instructions on the Nordicware website if you're interested, but for future reference I just use a non-aggressive sponge with hot soapy water.
Because you have to look after the tins.
You do have to look after
They're
the
not
tins.
cheap tins, you need to look after them. So not the dishwasher.
Not the dish. We never put cake tins in the dishwasher.
I should wash this later.
Traditionally, a Meskouta, again apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrong, is served like this. This is it. It's just a very traditional wholesome cake. So you would just let this cool and then serve it. But that would be really boring. So we're going to make an orange glaze to go on this one. So we're going to pop this to one side. And so it's going to be a really simple glaze, just using the zest and juice of another orange.
Okay.
And some icing sugar.
Okay.
So again, we talked earlier on about how these aren't the biggest oranges in the world. But we'll go with it. And if we need to add some extra juice, we can crack open a second one. Yeah, but I'm worried that the increased confidence also means an increased risk of danger.
I'm not bothered with the
And in fact, we're not going to squeeze it all in because obviously we need to control how much we put in to get the right amount of liquid.
Okay.
So we'll put half in,
Yep.
We'll add our icing sugar, we'll stir, and then we'll add a bit more as we need it. Now, because essentially this is something I have made up and this isn't traditional, you can do whatever type of glaze you want. You could have a really thin pouring glaze. I personally prefer almost like a really thick icing. You'll think it's too thick, but obviously it will gradually run.
Both.
Good, that's a good sign.
I like it soaked in the thin one, then extra thick one on top.
Okay, we're just going to do the one today because I have to go home at some point.
Okay.
Zoe only has one sieve, and you may recall we have used it already, so we're not going to sieve our icing sugar, which is a cardinal sin, because we should always sieve our icing sugar, because they use anti-caking agents that aren't particularly good at anti-caking a lot of the time. Although, for the record, Silver Spoon is probably one of the best for that. 150 grams.
I never wear
That's
icing
very
sugar.
neat.
That's actually thicker than I was expecting it to be.
Which is why I was like, don't put the other
It's a
orange
nice
in.
colour. See, if Rob wasn't here, I probably would have eaten most of the icing before it even got on.
You might not like it, you might think it's horrible.
I doubt that. I think I will probably like it.
But what you want to do is almost just spoon it on and then leave it to run, and it will run. You have to trust the process.
Okay.
And because we're using this lovely tin, it will run down those grooves.
And down the middle.
It will run down the middle too. I quite like that because it means you get a little pocket of extra icing.
Am I doing it all right?
It looks beautiful.
Would you tell me that even if it looked rubbish?
Yes, I would.
Was that
bit
more than
more
a
here.
tiny bit more?
But again, it's not about a beautiful, pretty. This isn't a celebration cake. This is a, you know, a party traditional cake that you're going to share with your family,
Oh, it smells really nice.
and it is just going to taste absolutely delicious. You are going to now need to put some there where you've left a little hole, because that's going to bother me.
Can I put some sprinkles on?
If you
Orange
put
ones?
sprinkles on now, where the icing is still running, the sprinkles might run as well.
You just don't want me to put sprinkles on, do you?
Well, it's your cake.
Just sprinkles it is.
Fine. Fine.
I've got some orange random ones. These are my... What if I just gently put them on there?
Everyone in the comments is going to be like, you absolutely, Zoe totally made the right choice putting sprinkles on it. You should have let her do that from the beginning.
I don't think I will say that.
You're going to get cancelled by your fans.
I was gonna just drop them randomly, but actually I think it probably did look nicer before these were on. But they're on. They're on.
Aren't they just? What type of sprinkles are these? Are these like
These
chocolate?
are chocolate filled ones, these ones.
That will go really well with this cake. That's no chocolate at all.
Chocolate goes well with everything. Am I going overkill? Did it look nicer before, Rob? I don't even know what it looks like from the front, to be fair, so... Oh, I've run out of oranges.
Oh, what a shame.
Run out of orange ones. We could always go into this box.
Oh, okay, good. Why are you avoiding the only one that is actually orange?
Because I didn't feel like it went with the others.
So would it really bother you if I put this on?
Yeah, you're going to put it on now, aren't you?
No, I can't bring myself to do it.
Oh yeah, so me and Rob have made another video, which you'll be able to find on Rob's channel. I don't know if it's on there already or not.
Neither do I, because I don't know when this video is going
So if
up.
it's not on Rob's channel yet,
It will be soon.
keep an eye out. I like
The
these.
best way to keep an eye out is to follow me on social media,
And that's Mr. Baker's Cake School.
which Zoe will make sure she links.
I will link
all of my socials
I will link it
in the
for
video
that.
description. There you go.
I know you're upset that it's sprinkles.
No, it's fine. It's you've made it your own. So that is how to make my take on a traditional Meskouta with orange, plus an orange glaze and sprinkles.
It looks nice. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Can I go now?
Let's try it.
Don't let it slide.
Should I use that hand?
It's up to
And
you.
then matching.
And you can do this.
That'll be one for the thing as it just plops off. Rolls over the table.
Literally on its side.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I'm looking forward to eating this. A big thanks to Rob for coming over. And don't forget, you can find the recipe over on Rob's page, and I'll put the link below to that, below the video.
In
to
the video
that.
description. Yes.
Yeah, there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for having me, and I hope you like the cake, and I hope you like the cake as well.
Thanks ever so much, guys. Bye.
Bye. This actually takes a really long time, and I've just realised we need a whisk, and I haven't bought a whisk attachment. That is a problem.
We might have to use the KitchenAid.
This has been in shot the entire time.
No matter, we'll just say
Rob's.
KitchenAid wins over K-Mix today.
Absolutely won't say that.
Rob is a Kenwood ambassador. But I have a KitchenAid. But mine's broken.
What did your mum have?
I don't know. What does mine have?
Really cheap thing for that.
It'll be something really old that's really crappy.
What sort of attachment is it? I mean, it's not a random.
It won't fit, won't they?
No, they're not interchangeable. You must know somebody on this right who's got a K-Mix. Like half your family literally lives
I'm not
there.
that friendly there. Does my sister have a mixer?
I don't know.
No.
If you're making a Genoese sponge without a whisk,
Although she's at work
you will
today.
you will literally die.
She was at work.
Do you have an electric hand whip? You've got that
Just
little
that little
stick
one.
thing, haven't you?
What if we just hide the mixer in the background?
I can't believe that. That's really annoying.
What if we put it behind your mixer? It could almost be like part of the comedy.
Do you want just to pause film and see if your sister's got one?
Yeah, if you could. We're not actually going to do that. That would be
Hide it
ridiculous.
behind there. Look, no one can even see that it's not a Kenwood mixer in the background.
To be honest, this angle you can't see through the roof.
Yeah, if you could pause, please, Richard.
It's like magic.
Get your phone.